What's up, Timmers here. Now, with Downton Abbey, a new era coming out this week, since it is, of course, based on a show that went from the small to the big screen, I decided to go ahead and do my top 10 favorite shows that also did the same thing, or films based on shows. I'm not talking about like remakes, like let's say, I'm not talking about like 21 Jump Street, I'm not talking about Starsky and Hutch, nothing like that. I'm talking about like shows that such as like Sex and the City, Star Trek and stuff. Those shows that was on this small screen at one time, and then of course, obviously, jump from the small to big screen, but not obviously remakes stuff like that. Like obviously with the same characters and like same actors and stuff, that type of thing. But anyway, here is my official top 10. All right, number 10 is might be a little embarrassing, but I actually did not mind this so much. Number 10 is Hannah Montana the movie. I'm going all out. Here of course you got Miley Cyrus, who reprises her role as Molly Stewart, struggling to balance her pop star alter ego, and of course she goes with her normal life during a trip to Tennessee hometown. And of course, it is a spun off from the Hannah Montana series that ran on Disney Channel from 2006 to 2011. Obviously, made a star out of Miley Cyrus, and of course, she ends up, falling for like a cowboy here, played by MacGyver guy, Lucas, not Grable, Lucas Till. Of course, she had some really good songs in this. Like, I always get a kick out of the Climb song. I actually really did not mind the Hannah Montana movie. Definitely, it's not as good as the TV show, obviously. I still always... The TV show is definitely one of the top tier, maybe one of my favorite Disney Channel shows there is. But the movie definitely, had, was pretty decent, to say the least. Really cool music. Really... Of course, obviously, the last time we ended up seeing Miley Cyrus as Hannah Montana. So, it is a really... and obviously... I can say this was also a nice, pretty much a nice end off to the show as well, really. So yeah, all right. Number 9 is Lizzie McGuire the movie, another Disney Channel show that jumped from the from the small to the big screen. Here, of course, you got Hilary Duff, who reprises her role as Lizzie McGuire. Of course, the show actually ran for from 2001 to 2004. And she embarks on a school trip to Rome, where she's mistaken for a pop star who gets caught in fame and romance. I really quite had a fun time with the Liz McGuire movie. Obviously, some of the songs Liz McGuire sings in this is great. Definitely was pretty decent. Just like Hannah Montana, Wednesdays maybe I'll do my top 10 favorite Disney Channel shows of all time. Because Liz McGuire would definitely be up there. And Hilary Duff, which by the way, if you guys don't know, Hilary Duff is actually coming back to the music business, so that's pretty cool. Man, really, it's so disappointing that the Liz McGuire. Remember, they were supposed to be doing a reboot of Liz McGuire. That was actually announced. I think that was announced during Disney's Investors Call meeting one time, and for some reason, it never came to fruition, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is, I guess. All right. Number 8 on my list is Serenity. Now, of course, Serenity is based on the show Firefly that only ran for I believe only 2 seasons, if I'm not mistaken. Of course, you had Nick DeFillion, Alan Tudyk, directed by Joss Whedon, who would go on to give us the Avengers. This is of course you also have Chiwetel Ejiofor playing the villain in this. So my first introduction to Chiwetel Ejiofor, Summer Glau, who I had a huge crush on Summer Glau in this. This is, of course, where the crew of a Firefly ship led by Captain Mal Reynolds uncovers a deadly alliance secret protecting a telepathic fugitive. And so, yeah, the Serenity is definitely probably one of the top tier sci-fi movies of that era. It's really fun to check out. And it's a shame we never really got to see... I always wish they did a Firefly reboot. I think a Firefly reboot would be pretty cool, but... Alright, number 7 is Entourage. Now, of course, obviously, this is the TV show with, the likes of Adrian Grenier, Jeremy Piven, where like movie star Vince Chase and his crew navigate Hollywood drama as they work on a risky new project here. Of course, this was like a continuation of the Entourage series that ran on HBO from 2004 to 2011. And the movie, of course, brought like some glitzy, bro-centric vibe, great cameos. Also, you had cameos like Andrew Dice Clay makes a cameo here. You have Mark Wahlberg making a cameo. So, tons of really fun cameos popping up here and there. Billy Bob Thornton and Haley Joel Osment was in this. I actually thought it was pretty decent. I mean, it didn't really get as much love as you expect, but I thought it was a pretty decent film and really showcased like really love seeing the four boys on the big screen here. And Entourage, I just always thought of Entourage as like Sex and City for guys. That's why I always thought of Entourage, and obviously Sex and City. That's not really on my list, but like in my honorable mention list, really. But Entourage was a pretty decent one, a decent film there. All right, number 6 is Jackass the movie. Now, of course, this is where Johnny Knoxville and his crew perform like crazy stunts and pranks, pushing their boundaries on their TV antics. Of course, it does expand from the Jackass series that ran on MTV from 2000 to 2002, and obviously, we will go on to get other Jackass films after this. We also had Bad Grandpa, which I actually quite like Bad Grandpa. That's out of all the Jackass sequels that came after the 2002 one. Bad Grandpa is probably still my favorite. But yeah, the Jackass movie definitely has some fun antics to it. Stuff that you would not want to try at home. These are obviously trained professionals here, so yeah. And also, there was a probably on my honorable mention is also the Impractical Jokers movie as well. So there's that. Anyway, hopefully we'll get another Jackass movie down the line. All right, number 5 is Crocodile Hunter Collision Course. Crocodile Hunter Collision Course is great. Of course, you have the late great Crocodile Hunter star Steve Irwin and his wife Terry Irwin, who stumbles into a CIA mission involving a mission satellite beacon while protecting a crocodile in the Australian outback. And this is, of course, like, it pretty much captures the high energy wildlife antics of the crocodile hunter that, of course, ran on Animal Planet from 1996 all the way up to 2007. Blending documentary style action with quirky spy plot. I always got a kick out of this one. I mean, of course, seeing like Steve Irwin, getting into like a fight scene with someone was pretty cool. That it did not involve a crocodile was interesting. You made my croc upset, mate. Oh boy, I mean Steve Irwin. I always loved Steve Irwin. I was always sad when when he passed away back in 2006. But it was really cool seeing him on the big screen. I actually saw this one when I was like in theaters when I was pretty young at the time. And it was pretty cool seeing Steve Irwin, his deal with some of these animals, and also a CIA mission here. And obviously, there was one of the majority scenes is where like a plot of the movie is where a crocodile actually swallows a satellite, and all, and that's pretty interesting there. I mean, yeah, the Crocodile Hunter movie is a pretty good one. All right, number 4 is the X-Files. Of course, this is based on the X-Files series that ran from 1993 to 2002. And the X-Files was a pretty good one. Of course, this is where like FBI agents Mulder and Scully investigate a conspiracy involving a deadly alien virus. And of course, it serves as like a bridge between seasons 5 and 6 of the X-Files. And of course, they did do a sequel back in 2008. Back in 2008. I mean, the X-Files movie, I was not too big with the sequel, but that first X-Files movie is great. I mean, obviously I was a little young at the time, so I never really got to see this one on the big screen. But the X-Files is a really, it was pretty cool to see, them pretty much take their antics, to movie form. And it'll be cool to see maybe another movie down the line. I mean, they were always trying to get like a third X-Files movie off the ground, but that never came to fruition. All right, number 3 is, of course, Follow That Bird, which is obviously the, Sesame Street coming to the big screen. where Big Bird essentially lived with a bird family, but runs away. But of course, obviously runs away to return to Sesame Street, prompting his friends to search for him here. Obviously, Sesame Street was and is still going strong here, from 1969 to present day. And Big Bird, seeing Big Bird, having a really fun travel here. I mean, he of course ends up meeting Waylon Jennings, which was pretty cool. I really quite like his little music number with Waylon Jennings, who he's always listened to that once. Like the Ain't No Road Too Long, I always listen to that whenever I get a chance to. Of course, you do got fun celebrity cameos like the likes of Chevy Chase pops up, John Candy, Joe Flaherty is also in this, playing one of the bad guys. Follow That Bird is great. I mean, there was also obviously Adventures of Grap. Like, Sesame Street only went to the big screen only twice. One of which was, of course, Follow That Bird. And the other one was Grouchland, the Elmo one. They were really trying to do another Sesame Street movie, like, years ago with Anne Hathaway. I think Chance the Rapper was supposed to be in that, but some reason that never came to fruition, which is unfortunate. Because I say, if you do another Sesame Street movie today, on the big screen, that will make some really good dough. I mean, Sesame Street is still popular as it always has been. So, I don't know. Hopefully, we'll see Big Bird and the gang on the big screen again in the future. But who knows? All right. Speaking of the Muppets, number 2 is another Muppet movie, and that is the Muppet movie. Now, the Muppet movie is where like Kermit the Frog and his friends embark on like a cross country journey to make it in big in Hollywood. And this is a expand of the Muppet Show that ran from like 1975 to 1981. You do got fun celebrity cameos here too, like Steve Martin, Orson Welles pops up. Obviously seeing Kermit the Frog riding on the bicycle is always iconic. I mean, the Muppet movie. Obviously, we end up getting other Muppet films down the line as well. Whether it's like the Christmas Carol one, whether it's the 2011 one with Jason Segel. I mean, the Muppets has been going strong since '76, and they're still going strong to this day. Like Kermit the Frog, by the way, is on Broadway. Believe it or not, like there's actually a Broadway show featuring Kermit the Frog. So, yeah, who doesn't love the Muppets, right? And my number one is, of course, Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan. I probably could have gone with Star Trek: The Motion Picture, but I'm actually going with Wrath of Khan because that is obviously the best one here. Where, of course, the crew of the USS Enterprise, led by Admiral Kirk, faces off against the eventful Khan, who seeks to destroy Kirk using a powerful terraforming device. And obviously, the Star Trek series actually did not really, believe it or not, did not run as long as you expect. I mean, the show actually ran from like 1966 to 1969, and obviously Star Trek ended up becoming a culture impact here. And Wrath of Khan is definitely the best Star Trek movie in my opinion. Obviously, next to the J.J. Abrams ones as well. But yeah, Wrath of Khan is great. I mean, the iconic line of Khan. I mean, I always get kicked out of that line. Line here. Ricardo Montalban, who of course played Khan, probably one of the top tier sci-fi villains of all time, in my opinion. I mean, Wrath of Khan is just a really great one and well worth watching there. Anyway, here is, of course, my quick rundown. Number 10, Hannah Montana in the movie. 9, Lizzie McGuire in the movie. 8, Serenity. 7, Entourage. 6, Jackass in the movie. 5, Crocodile Hunter Collision Course. 4, The X-Files. 3, Sesame Street Presents Follow That Bird. 2, The Muppet Movie. And number 1 is Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan. Now, few are my honorable mentions. And this one also might. I was actually really keen on probably even adding this one because I actually did sort of grew up watching it as a child. Barney's Great Adventure. I mean, say what you want, Barney is technically live action, so that definitely would have counted. Sex and the City, obviously. Let's see. The Impractical Joker movie is another good one. Downton Abbey, of course, we got the new one coming out this week. I mean, I like the Downton Abbey movie, but I didn't love it. I'm not really much of a Downton Abbey guy, as most people are. So, yeah. But anyway, let me let you guys. What's some of your favorite live action movies based on TV shows? Again, not like remakes. Like I'm I was not talking about like 21 Jump Street, nothing like that. But anyway, drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for notification. This is Timmy Sign.